you live? I live where internet doesn't work. I think it's because we've got a big bunch of snow headed our way. And I mean, like a huge bunch of like ice and snow headed our way. I'm not looking forward to it. I hate snow. I hate ice. I hate winter. It makes me hurt. I don't like it. It needs to go away. But you can hear my cats meowing on the front porch. But I wanted to come on here. I've done literally nothing but give Oscar a haircut today and a few household chores. Hi, Hillbilly. I've done nothing today but a few chores. Gave Oscar a haircut. That's about bad. It's coming this way, and it's starting to have an issue with my internet. So if I get knocked off of here, it's because the snow is moving in and it's creating some issues. So I don't know what we're really going to wake up to. We never know what we're going to wake up to up here. But I thought I'd jump on for just a couple minutes and respond to a comment that someone left that really just kind of, it is the average comment that you see in today's world. Just leave people alone. Hi, Pocahontas. You know, that people just are like, just leave people alone. Just leave people alone. And I find it absolutely astonishing that someone who is a fan of someone who puts his whole life on the internet, like I'm all the time saying, dude, you don't need to share this much. You know, you need a barrier, you need a boundary. Hi, Denise. I'm constantly saying, don't share so much. Don't share so much. But he puts like everything on the internet. And the internet is how he chooses to communicate, even to family. 9 times out of 10. To me, it's toxic. But to this younger generation, it's a norm. That's sad. It's a norm. But a lot of the younger generation who don't understand interpersonal communication and bonds between people that happen when you're not constantly texting or online or social media buddies, or, you know, when you get that serotonin, dopamine, endorphin bump in the natural way when you are with people, they don't understand that. They only understand the chemicals you get from this, and it's a very different thing. I posted the comment in the last video that I just uploaded, and basically it started off with, here's the thing I don't understand. And I thought, well, at least they were honest there. They didn't understand anything. So, and then at the very end, it was like, you just need to leave them alone. And I'm like, hello? This is how the boy has chosen to communicate with everyone for over a decade. He does it online. This is how he's chosen to communicate with me for the last 3 years, online. Even his mother commented and said, thank you, under my video yesterday. It's all about education, and it's all about, hey, what I'm trying to do is get him to pump the brakes, basically, and downshift. And because what is going on with whatever has happened, whatever stimuli occurred, it has placed him into a fight or flight mentality. And that's why we're seeing a lot of the dangerous behaviors, doing a lot of the erratic things, the unsafe things, and posting it up there and kind of feeling like Superman, and invincible. We've heard this word, indestructible, legendary. All of those feelings and thoughts and that kind of force comes from your amygdala. And your amygdala is very much a fight or flight, and basically it's a little bean, in your temporal lobe. It's a little bean. It's just a little bean. And but it causes so many big problems. And, it sits very close to your hippocampus, very close to your thalamus. But its sole thing is to, alert you to fear. And then it, spills out into your nervous system so that you respond. And so that you learn to respond to fear or to things that you should be fearful of. So that you learn how to stay safe and you learn how to respond and react to certain things. Well, the thing is that in this day and age, we're not being chased by lions, tigers, and bears normally. And so most of our fear-based reactions are between us and people. They're societal issues, ideological issues, they're man-made issues. And so you get very well versed in being fear-based about something that could easily be talked through, but your body still only knows how to work the way it was made. So all that goes back to the amygdala, and boom, you go into fight or flight. And some people enjoy fight or flight. I mean, it's just sad truth. They enjoy it because of the feelings of the Superman syndrome that they sometimes feel with it. And the only way to get someone, out of fight or flight and to get those emotions out of the amygdala is to start to talk to them. Because when you have to transition those feelings into words, then you have to throw all of that out into the other parts of your brain. And your amygdala has to say, okay, I'm not in control anymore. And then you start to chill out, rationalize, and start making sense. And so when I'm doing these videos trying to leave a thought process, a question, hoping for a response, or trying to create some kind of narrative, it's because I'm trying to get his brain to trigger so that the amygdala dumps and he goes into rational thought mode and he's no longer in fight or flight. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I get that, not a lot of people understand that. I get that. A lot of, most of y'all people, you don't know about de-escalation, how the brain works, and how dangerous these, little tiny beans in our brain can be. I get that. But it boggles my mind how people think that someone that lives his life 99.9% on the internet would be offended that I would address what he put on the internet. That's like putting on a red party dress and going to a party and then playing, I'm upset that you said I wore a red dress. I mean, my God, how stupid is that? I mean, what we do in display for others, we do in display for a response. Now, some of the responses are very inappropriate because they're just goading him on to more and more what I think is harmful behavior. While I'm sitting here trying to bring him down into a conversational level to where I know it will disperse all of that pent up crap in his amygdala out to the other areas and make him focus on communication, which will bring down that fight or flight response and will cause a calm down and will make him start processing information in a different manner. And it will basically bring his eyebrows down so he can, be cool and collected for a minute and think. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to get up in his business. It's very easy to get up in somebody's business when they put it 110% on the internet. If I had anything to tell him, maybe stop putting your crap on the internet. Stop it. If you want to have a life that you feel is yours and that you feel other people are not manipulating, then do not give them the power to manipulate it. Take it off the goddamn internet. It's as simple as that. No one ever calls my house until I get on the internet. But it really is as simple as that. It's that simple. So he's craving contact, but he's not craving the appropriate type of contact. He's craving the contact of the bolstering, the, bumping up his ego, bumping up, supporting his endeavor, supporting his aggression, supporting his ego right now. But he doesn't want true communication, because true communication would bring him down and make him have to discuss and talk and calm down and be rational. And so that's what my videos are trying to do, is create a communication highway. Whether he watches them or not, there are certain things I talk about that will trigger him to ask himself questions, and that's going to bring him out of that. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do. Because if I can slow down the amygdala response and slow down the fight or flight, then we have a better chance that he will start to think and start to communicate and start to calm down and start to reach out to people that can support him and start to get the appropriate aid. That's all I'm doing. It's that simple. It's that simple. And if you're ever in a situation where you think, am I helping? Should I talk to this person? Should I not? Always talk to that person. Because human contact is powerful. There were so many people that I've seen in therapy because someone in their family or a friend committed suicide. And the suicide information is in my last video if you would like to go look at it, if you need the numbers. There were so many people that I counseled that had lost a loved one to suicide, and that they never said, "Oh, I wish I'd left him alone more. I wish I'd never talked to her. I wish." They always said, "I wish I'd known to have stepped in every day. I wish I'd known that every day that I spoke, there was a little spark of hope in their life. That every day I checked on them gave them another reason to keep going." And that's the truth. Interpersonal relationships, we're herd animals. We need each other. We need each other, and we need the contact. And it's necessary. It's at our core of who we are and what we do. Can people live alone and be a hermit? Yes, but you have very limited life. You have a very limited emotional and like you don't really learn how to function as a human being if you're alone all the time. You miss out on so many things that can make you grow. And so it just changes the format of your brain. And so I'm out here trying to say, hey, communication is key. And this communication, this little box, is not the best. It would really be great if somebody could actually physically sit down with him and have a discussion, but have a discussion with the right prompt, not to agree with him or agree with what he's doing, but to literally do a check-in. Just to literally do a check-in. I mean, because the more people that express concern, eventually it will get to him that we are concerned, that we're not enjoying this wild ride. We're not enjoying saddling up this amygdala and going, woohoo! No, we're not. None of us is enjoying this because we can see the pain that's coming out of his eyes. So maybe the more that we say, hey, this is touching your fans, but it's touching us in a very scary way, maybe he will say, ooh, maybe I've crossed the line, and start to question himself. Even self-communication will start to bring him down, and so it's just something that you need to do. Common sense is a superpower, but let me tell you, whoo, it's not out there a lot. It's just not out there a lot. Human contact is priceless. It absolutely is. Sounds like you pushed someone away because they were being honest with it. It sounds like there's been a trigger event. And whatever that trigger event was, it was something that he felt challenged him in some way to put him in a place of fear. He did not go to a place of power. He did not go to a place of concern. He did not go to a place of compromise or concession. He didn't even go to a place of rational thinking, logical thinking. He went straight to fear or, fight or flight. And that's what we've been seeing, with 170 miles down the interstate, which is, there's no reason for that. That's just stupid. And the other stuff, he's riding that high and he's making bad decisions, and it's because it's amygdala driven, fight or flight driven, and he needs to get out of that mind frame. So, I just want to see him do well. I'm really concerned about him, and I'm trying to drop little gems so that maybe if he sees it, it can create the conversation to where he can do better and start to think about how it's, affecting him and others, how it's affecting the online people that see it, especially the younger fans that are seeing it, because they do not know anything. They don't know how to process any of this. All they see is an icon doing things that they think are cool, because anything an icon does is cool. And you have to just be so careful when you are an icon, because yes, you're human, but you also have, you have to take that extra level of competency and say, should I be doing this? And I'm confused as to what happened to. I have an idea because of information, but it's not privy for something that I can put out here. But it seems like it may have been a knee-jerk reaction to get this mad, and now he's just completely riding the endorphins. And so he's just stuck in fight or flight. And so if we could just get him to breathe and bring it down. But also with the ADHD, when you get into the amygdala based fight or flight scenario, it's very difficult to bring that down, because that is almost a very common safe place. It feels very much like someone that's maybe having some mania due to ADHD or bipolar. That amygdala is, so it may be a very similar feeling. So they might not understand that they're in fight or flight. They just may think they're being manic, or they're going through an ADHD or a bipolar episode. And so it's confusing for the person going through it as well. And so that's why, if you have this knowledge, you should probably be trying to interject and say, I want to help you. How do I help you? I'm concerned. And you don't roll in and agree with everything they're doing. You can't. You can't. You can't catfish somebody that's in fight or flight because they're prepped for it. Oh yeah, he's definitely seen my comments. He's responded. I've got him thinking. He's not reached out, and that's okay. I'm and there could be someone much better for him to reach out to. There could be someone much better for him to reach out to. And I would hope that maybe he's thinking about going in and seeing someone professionally. But if I'm just leaving little nuggets and he's finding them and it's making him think, then I know it's slowing down the process of the amygdala-driven responses. And I'm okay with that, because that means the brakes are going on and we're downshifting and we're coming back down to earth a little bit. So that's just what I'm trying to do. And yeah, it's over the internet. And yeah, it would be so much more healthy if I could just reach out and call and talk to him. That would be great. But unfortunately, this is how he lives his life. This is how he communicates. And so this is how, this is the only way I can communicate response. And I try to do so as respectfully as possible. And I try to do so in a loving manner. So, I'm not doing anything to try to belittle him. I'm trying to educate him. Because as he gets older, through the 30s to about the mid 40s, is when these behaviors can really get hyper kind of fixated in those high testosterone and hormone, and that's a high spot for ADHD and the things that the hormones and stuff that go along with that. Then it starts to wane as you get a little bit older, and a lot of it is testosterone driven, and a lot of it is this fight or flight. And it's just something that he's going to have to understand about himself, maybe in a more scientific manner instead of a more familiar manner. He's going to have to look at it in a scientific way. Yeah, and I think that people think we're being disrespectful when he needs help. It's not that it's not like we're saying that he needs a straitjacket and a padded room. People be rational. Be logical. Like, sit here, stop making everything a freaking soap opera Hallmark. Freaking, I hate that. Oh my God. Yeah. Ugh. Some people. See, I'm not working anymore, so I can make the faces and be irritated. But when we say help, it's literally help is not a padded room and a straitjacket. It is a good friend getting him out of that headspace. It is a warm cooked meal, a warm home cooked meal that will sit him down and cause his body to focus on something else except for what is up here spinning. It's any distraction that's going to soothe him, calm him down, and get him into a healthier state of mind to where he can start to communicate. And once he starts communicating, and what we saw and everybody's like, he's communicating. Did you not see him on Insta the other morning? No, he was yelling. He was stating everything he believes about himself to be true, whether it's true or not. By God, if I say it, by God, it will be true. And I'm going to say it, and everybody's going to listen. He was demanding everyone follow his lead, accept his statement, don't question my motive. And that was as toxic can get the other morning. Like, if I could write like a whole thesis on that. there was so much going on there that was toxic, and it was, I am who I say I am. No, you are in who you are in relation to others. Yeah, that's who you are. You are who you are in relation to others. You are who you are in relation to your society, how you function, how you aid or hurt the people around you that you function within, the emotions that you make other people feel. That's who and what we are. Not this idea of this, star, megastar in our brain. That's not who you are. That is a persona. That is not a person. So focus on the person. We got to get him to focus back on the person. And so I'm just concerned that he's gone so far, think with all the invincible talk and legend talk, and it's just like, whoa, 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 we're in the wrong headspace. Bring it back into orbit, son. We're just a person. We're just a person. We're just a clump of cells walking a spinning dust ball in the ether. And what we do know is that we have to get along. And the best thing about this life is those that love us and that we love. And so, life without love is not a life. Oh yeah, his nervous system. I mean, especially the sympathetic. Can you imagine what's going on with the sympathetic nervous system right now with all of this? Holy Mother of God. What he must be feeling, and it's the sad thing is basically self-inflicted because he doesn't understand when he's there and he's ranting and raving and saying these big Instagram messages about, by God, listen, it's like you don't understand that all you're feeding is that fight or flight. You're not feeding anything that's going to help you attain your goals, help you communicate with people that you love, help you rationalize problem areas. You're not doing anything that's helping you. You're just sitting down and literally blowing smoke up your own ass. If you can strike that pose, more power to you, yoga. But I'm just saying it's not benefiting you in any way. In any way. So I would just like for him to kind of slow down and think. And I'm just, I worry about him. I worry about him. He needs somebody to talk to, and he probably needs a neutral, new person that has not been a part of any of this to create a whole new chapter in self-healing. I would think that would probably be best. No one that is privy or in any way affixed to any member of his family or work staff, just a completely external orbiting person that is only going to know and talk to him. That would be the most beneficial person. That would be the most beneficial way. But it's scary to watch him go through this and not understand what he's doing to his body and mind. Good minds think alike. Pocahontas, there you go. Yeah, it's he desperately needs to understand what is going on in his brain right now, chemically in his brain. And it would help a lot, it would help him understand a lot as to why he's having these emotions, these feelings, these rash decision urges. And he would understand that, I'm not in a healthy headspace. I'm not using but maybe 2% of my brain, aka I'm not thinking things through, and I need to stop being in this little bean of a amygdala, and I need to use everything else to make sure that I get out of this okay. And so that's he's just stuck in fight or flight. And you can tell it's been a lot of fight, but there's been a lot of flight too. Like the abrasive communication is flight. That is, I can say this, but you better not. Because as soon as I say this, I'm leaving, but you better not respond. I mean, it's kind of daring people to respond. And then he runs. And then when he's doing the dangerous things, down the interstate at 170, even though he thinks he's being safe, there's no way you can be safe. There's no way you can be safe. Doing 170 down an interstate that is a public road, you can't control everyone else. I mean, as safe as you want to try to be, something can always go wrong. Don't do crap like that. That's the fight or flight. That was him thinking, when you get into that fight or flight and you get into that Superman syndrome and you think, I can overcome anything, I have to because I have to do this. That's when it starts to get really, really scary, because when you're stuck there long enough, you do get that invincibility boost, and where you think that nothing can harm you, and I got this, by God, and you don't. You forget that you are just a little thin pouch of bones, that is very easily destroyed, and you have to keep that fresh on the noggin. Yeah, he's not thinking, he's just doing. He's completely motivation driven, and the motivation is the fight or flight. And if we could just reverse that and gear him down into where he has to rationally think and communicate, it would gear his brain down, and poof, there he goes. And that's what people that are autistic, that are nonverbal, are. That's why they stim, and they have certain things they do to calm themselves down, is because without communication, if they're nonverbal, without communication, you have to get that angst out somehow. And so that's why they'll do those stimming things. And that's how they release that energy, so that they can lower and get out of their fight or flight. Because when you're autistic and things go wrong, you go into fight or flight a lot. So I think that painting would be better for him right now. Driving seems to be a little shady right now. I think painting, or playing music, guitar, learning a new instrument, something that would engage his brain in a positive manner, but still make it think in a communication way, like learning how to read music, learning how to coordinate the music with the instrument. All that keeps your brain lower based and out of that fight or flight. So he needs a task that is going to engage all of his brain, instead of allowing these hyper endorphin rush things that are just going to keep the amygdala rolling. Oh, I see you. I miss you so much. I've got to talk to one of my friends. My bestie buddy's in here, and I haven't seen her forever, and I miss her so much. You have no idea. We have a saying, if you belong to me, that's my purse. And painting is amazing. Painting's a wonderful thing. Yes, that's my purse. We had somebody visit our group one day, and they were really crass, and I was like, that's not my purse. I realized one day when I said something to my husband that I sounded like Bobby Hill. And ever since then, I've been doing that when I meet people and I like them. I'm like, that's my purse. You got to have fun with life, y'all. You got to have fun with life. It's such a short trip. You got to enjoy it. My goodness. You got to stay in a healthy place where you can enjoy it. There's no reason to put yourself in an unhealthy state. Oh, that's neat. I'll have to check into her. And there's a lot of, I think even just like the energy training to see if he's got like a super sensitive area, if he's got a super sensitive lobe on his brain, if he's got a super sensitive side or portion of his body, if he's got a chakra that's super sensitive, if he's got something going on, there's a lot of ways to look into that now as well. That seems to be more beneficial with the treatment for people with ADHD than other, what we would say, normal Western interventions. So I think look into anything, try. I'm not one of those. I'll try anything, and if it improves you, go with it. And if it doesn't, well, check it off your list and go on. Priscilla, I helped you today. What did I do? I've left a lot of videos, and a lot of people have been giving me messages about how that they wish they had this at a certain point in their life, or they had understood things differently when they were going through something. And um, if I had the energy to really do a lot of like little psychobabble stuff, and I hate to say psychobabble because it reminds you of that guy, but if I could do like my little psych talks, and I felt like it every day, it would be great. But I don't feel like it every day. It really like, and there's some days when I'm in certain phases of a flare or sickness that my brain is just like mush and I can't recall. I just like there's a Rolodex in there, but some days it doesn't spin. So, but when I can access the information, I can get it out. But some days it doesn't spin, and that's just because of my neuromuscular disorder. So there are days that it's hard for me to get out what I want to say. Yeah, the driving video gave me anxiety too. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm all for like let your kids grow up and let them do dangerous things carefully, because they have to grow up and they have to be able to make those decisions and deal with the world. But when you're a grown up and you're just completely disregarding public safety, which is created for everyone, and you just disregard it, that says a lot about where you are mentally and emotionally at the moment. It speaks volumes about where you are. And so that's just something that it really scared me. And it's something that I didn't want the younger Creek Squad people to see, because it terrified me. I've not felt well today. Like I clipped Oscar so he looks like a normal dog again, and did just a few chores. But there's like this big thing of snow headed my way, snow and ice. I'm looking at the radar. I don't want it to get here. I don't want it to be here. And so I am going to try to take really good care of my body the next couple of days so that I don't go back into flare. He needs a couple of days in my house just to be with a regular person. Y'all, I live real simple. It's getting closer to Nashville now. I don't know if it's snow or freezing rain, to be quite honest. It looks like freezing rain. I hate ice storms. We have ice storms here all the time. I hate them. Grew up with them. I know how to live through them, but they just suck. I hate ice storms. But it looks like half snow, half like freezing rain, and it is blowing into Nashville and Clarksville. It looks like the heat is trying to pick up and move into Tennessee as it's moving east, but it's like there's pink down below Memphis. So I'm like, well, we're going to wake up with something on the ground tomorrow. We just don't know if it's going to be ice or snow. Is it freezing rain there? I just don't even want to think about that. Just don't want to even think about that. That hurts my body so bad. And my body has been like in perpetual flare for like 2 months. And I'm just tired. Today's been a better day because I actually could use my hands well enough to grab the clippers and shave Oscar. Oscar looks like a dog again. It's very cute. But after the last couple months I've had, it's just like, I'm done. I'm ready to move to like Miami, or I don't know, some little island somewhere where it stays warm, and then move back when it's hot summertime, move back to the hills. But of course, I don't have the lifestyle to really do that. So I won't be doing that. They never get it right here. It just depends on how it hits the mountain and how high the storm is, and they never can tell. And we're like really far away from the nearest radar, so they just make a good guess. They never get it right. So if they say nothing, we expect a blizzard. If they say a dusting, we expect probably nothing. They're always opposites, And we got a lot of snow last year. My videos last year, we had a lot of snow. And I thought we were going to have more snow this year. But February and March are our big snow months here where I live. So it's just really getting close to the big snow months for us. March is when we normally have blizzards if they come through. And I hate that. But I did not want to have a fire this evening because it's been kind of warm here all day. And so I just turned on one of those oil heaters. The radiant heaters. I just turned one of those on, and it keeps it really toasty. But I guess if I start seeing freezing ice warnings coming closer, I'll probably just make a fire. That means I'll be up all night feeding a fire. But I mean, oh well, it's what you gotta do to stay warm. I mean, we have a furnace, but I don't like to stress my furnace. I like to burn a fire when I can. Regardless, I'll probably wait for David to get home. I'll let him help. So I'm beginning to perk up. My nurse is coming by tomorrow, and trying to get back on my physical therapy schedule. Those stupid hooches down there at that Livingston Regional Medical Center. I'm going to rant for a minute. Okay, so a year ago when David had that kidney stone and we have no local hospital, he could not be moved. I thought he was fixing to have a heart attack. We had to call the ambulance. He was fixing to go into like heart attack mode. They were like, we've got to leave with him now. They got him in the ambulance and got him, I forget what they gave him in the ambulance, but it got him calmed down and got his heart rate down. Of course, it jarred for 45 minutes down the mountain to the nearest hospital, which would have taken me an hour and 20 minutes to drove it. So woohoo for them. But he gets down there and they give him one bag of fluids with a pressure bag attached, one Toradol injection, and one CT scan. They build and the freaking thing passed on its own after all the jarring in the pressure bag. It went in the bladder, and they said, "Oh, it's in your bladder now, so you should be able to pass it." He got down there and he was hurting when they put everything on him, and then he said, "Oh, it just stopped." He said, "I bet it's in my bladder," because he's had kidney stones before. It had just been like a 7-year gap since we'd had one. And the doctor said, "Well, let's make sure." So they did a CT. Yes, it was in his bladder. Yes, it was small enough for him to pass. He's got one tube on one side of his kidneys that's smaller than the other, so we were afraid it was stuck, but it wasn't. It passed. They billed insurance. Now, y'all, this was not the ambulance ride was separate. One bag of fluid, one Toradol shot. Toradol, max ibuprofen, basically. And a CT. And he has Blue Cross Blue Shield. They billed almost $13,000 and left us with $6,500. Well, we should have had an HRA account with $6,500 in it, but somehow through the entire year, even though we had not allowed it, opened it, signed anything, they had been billing it illegally. So we had to talk to a state investigator about that. He said, "I can't get your money back for you, but I can try to find out where it went." So we ain't getting that crap back. Well, then the hospital goes, "Well, your part is still $6,500. How do you want to pay?" I have thin air. How do you think I want to pay you, dummy? I said, "I'll just have to pay every month." So we pay $100 a month. And we've got it down to under, like, it's like in the $4,000 range now. And they sent a collections out, paid every month. And they sent a collections out the other day. They're going to put us in collections. And I'm just mean enough at this point to start calling all these area hospitals and getting the price quotes for these services, getting all like notarized paperwork from hospitals about price quotes for these things, and then telling them to take me to court so that I can show a judge how fraudulently overbilled people in Appalachia are. Because they were like, "Well, had you not had any insurance, we didn't have to bill insurance. You could have probably got away with about $1,200. But because I have insurance, it was 12 times that much." Y'all, the world, when it burns, it's going to be mostly because of insurance providers. I swear all of them are satanic. But so yeah, so we're still paying on it. It's under it's the $4,000 range now, and they wanted to put me in collections. I'm going to be the biggest turd. I'm going to be the biggest. You bet you. Oh, I'm going to be calling every hospital in like a 150 mile radius to get price quotes on these services. Just like when you hurt your car and a garage wants to overbill you, and then you go to the other garages and get how many every week and what their average costs are. That's exactly what I'm going to do at this hospital. And if they have if I can find them in a fraudulent billing, then find me an attorney. I'm getting sick of this. I didn't put a dart on my butt. I don't know what last year was all about, but some agents must have had a dart on my butt at Target. But I'm getting really irritated with this healthcare crap, and that's why I had to change my healthcare to a different. I have two. I had to get a different secondary because I am so sick. But my husband, he can only get that one through work, and it's sorry. Um, the guy that he worked with that had the heart attack, his job was there for him, but he had to quit because he owed so much to the hospitals and stuff that if he had stayed working and had insurance, then he would have been above the poverty line. So basically, even though he was capable to go back to work, he had to take a lesser paying job so he could be under the poverty level so that he could give that bill to the state. And they did a spin down for him and took care of that bill and gave him state insurance, which is, smart, I guess, but that doesn't really leave room for somebody to better themselves and work and fulfill their own obligations. Surely you would think that there would be something for people that are in that. We're not poverty, we're just above poverty, we're not getting any aid whatsoever. There should be something there to help us pay an outstanding bill that is most likely 5 times what it should have been. But I cannot get anyone to give me any information, and I can't find anyone to help figure it out. So if y'all know anybody, let me know, because I'm getting really irritated. I'm getting ready to take somebody to court. I'm over it. Yeah, they don't want us to better ourselves. They want us stuck. They want us compliant. They want us easily swayed. And that's and one of my bonus kids was here today, and we were talking, and they were like, "I'm confused." And I was like, "Confused about what? About who I am? Who are you?" I was like, "You're in the most chemically, hormonally changing time of your life. Just ride the roller coaster. Don't try to make any don't try to put yourself in any boxes. Don't try to stick any labels. Just ride the roller coaster for a while and see who you become. And then when you become an adult," and I said, "your brain is hardening up around 23, 24. I said, "then sit down and determine, okay, this is what I've done with my life thus far. What path makes the most sense now?" I said, "then you start talking about who you're going to settle down into be." And he's like, "But if I don't know who I am, then I don't know how I fit into this society." I said, "That's a trick." I said, "You don't have to know who you are. You don't have to have a label to fit into society." I said, "You are part of society, whether you know who you are, whether you know what you are, whether you know who you love, whether you're part of society regardless. You don't have to have a label on your daggum forehead." I said, "That is something that has been a lie from our government and our health people and medical people. It's a lie. It's a lie. At those ages, you are supposed to be exploratory. It's normal. It doesn't have to have a label to go with it, and you don't have to have a label to fit into anywhere in society, and you don't have to make crazy labels to fit elsewhere and think that you belong. You belong in society. You're a living human being. You belong in society." And he just kind of looked at me, and he was like, "That made me feel better." And I said, "No." I said, "How do you feel when somebody says that they don't know who you are because you don't have a label?" He said, "I feel like I'm lost." And I said, "And guess what?" I said, "People that feel lost," I said, "they feel alone. And when you feel alone, you feel isolated. When you feel isolated, you will grab onto anybody, anything that will show you any attention. And 9 times out of 10, those are negative things." I said, "It makes you pliable to bad things. It makes you'll lean toward anything that is giving you attention, whether it's good or bad, but it makes you especially vulnerable to the bad things." I said, "It creates a generation of children that are so enamored with, I need a label, I need to fit in, I need people to recognize me, I need people to love me," that they will rush for the wrong types of love, the wrong types of people, because they think that people can only love a label. They've got it all wrong. And that's why our kids are so lost right now. Our kids are so lost because they're trying to find a label to put on their forehead so that they belong. They don't understand that they belong regardless. You belong regardless. That label doesn't do anything but help identify you as easy prey for someone else. That's all it does. So when you have people that are so unsure of themselves, you create a society that is so like splintered that we won't come together and keep track of each other and care for each other, and people get bad things done to them because we're splintered. And we're not looking out for the whole. We're looking out for our little sect. That's not what society's supposed to be. That's not what a herd is supposed to be, and we're herd animals. That's not what we're supposed to be. We're all supposed to be there to protect each other. So they splintered our society, made it weaker, made it easier to be preyed upon. And they've made our children question themselves to the point where they control every thought they have about themselves. Like these kids don't think that they can understand themselves without checking TikTok first. Y'all, I double and triple checking your intuition separates the mind-body connection, which over time erodes your nerves. People need to connect to their own common sense intuition. Yeah, that and I think they've forcefully kind of bred the sixth sense out of us. And I think it's stronger in people that live in the country, that live next to predators and all that stuff. And you don't double question, triple question, want to fit, want to belong. You just want to be. You want to be and feel, follow your feelings, and be the being that your feelings dictate. And it's really kind of a holistic, simple, one step in front of the other thing. And what they're trying to create is these kids that feel like they have checkpoints in life where they have to meet these qualification mandates before they can go to the next checkpoint to grow up. So they're trying to control every moment of their life, every moment of how they see their life, how they absorb it, how they apply it to themselves. It's horrible. See, mind, body, touching hands, and doing another task. These simple things are falling away. Yeah, connectivity is falling away and causing issues with spatial and temporal recognition in the brain. Thank you. Yep. So reaching out and talking like this is great. You might learn something, but you don't get that interpersonal relationship, that connection, that real physical feeling. You don't get to see the body language, the nonverbal cues. You don't feel the energy swap. It makes communication lose so much of what benefits us as a human being. You don't get the charge, the energetic charge from people like you would if you were physically standing next to them and they were talking to you. And it's so important to make sure that you are connecting with good, solid people, and you are hugging, holding the hand of someone you love, taking time to if someone's in strife or something, to rub them on their shoulder, touch them and say, how can I help you? That is a tether. That is a lifeline. And it shows that you care. We've lost all these things because of this stupid little box. It just bothers me so much. I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger. I'm a person that I don't mind. I do not mind being close to people. I'm a hugger. And those hugs are so healing. Good. She's great. My kids are not big on social media either. My daughter really only has it so she can video call me. Otherwise, she hates it. She hates it. She thinks it's the most tacky thing ever. So I'm like, you go, girl. Tactile. That's it. And you've got to engage your senses. If your senses are never engaged, then what world are you living in? What world are you living in if your senses are never engaged? Not one that's helping you grow. It's just a lot of things to think about. We are batteries for each other. We are energy swaps. We help each other, and we also harm each other. Well, that's it. If all you touch is plastic, how do you recall the feel of a grin? Yeah. I've got certain books that I like to read and reread because of the tactile feeling of, like, it's got an embroidered spine and cover. That's my favorite book to read because while I'm reading it, I'm also getting this tactile experience while I'm reading. So I'm getting multiple sensations while I'm reading it. That's been my favorite book to read because of the tactile feeling that I have when I'm reading it. And I know that's what makes it my favorite book. I know that's what does it. But just having, like when I used to have when I first got diagnosed with this disorder and I started having panic attacks, I would have to grab my dog because you get into your amygdala with panic attacks too, and you have to get out. So to get out, I would pull myself back to my senses so that I could start communicating to my senses. So I would like grab the dog and be like, his ears are nice and cool, the hair is soft here but rough here, he has whiskers here, his nose is cold. And then I would start reciting and trying to see old roads that I lived on as a kid. I would start looking and going back through the pictures in my mind of all the horses that I owned and start talking about all the, the differences with them, like the sorrel that I had a big full tail that, I had to keep cut because it was so heavy. And the black mare was so tall, the only reason I sold her is because I had to stand on a bucket to put my foot in the stirrup. And I would start to smell the barn again and think, but I would be petting my dog the whole time, and I would have to really talk myself out of that panic attack. And imagine people that don't have experiences like that and can't talk themselves out of those issues. And we have a whole like generation of mentally wounded people that do not have the wherewithal to fight normal disruptors in the brain that normally a 6 or 7 or 8 year old could handle. I'm a hugger and a crier from way back. I'm one of those people that cry when I get mad. It's really bad. If you see me crying, you better run because I'm mad. Um, slime is a really great. Slime was really great for a lot of my autistic clients that had a hard time focusing because if I could get something for them to stim with, then it would open up. It would keep them busy, but it would also open them up to communication. So it would satisfy what they needed to do for the tactile, get that energy out, but then it would also allow them enough freedom to give me just a little bit of that focus and speak with me. And so we always had some kind of game, and whether it was just handshakes, clapping, flipping a card before answering a question, there always had to be something to prompt, and it was like the equal, I get to move my hand and stem, now I get to speak. And so we got in a rhythm, and I did really well there for a while with a couple, and sadly they aged out of my program. So did I get mad because I cried? I do the same thing. Moon sand, working with clay and grounding and the body to anchor. I do a lot of I have one of those singing bowls, and I do a lot of that. That's my favorite sound. So when I have a bad day, I go in the back on the back porch and play my singing bowl. And I don't think anyone that can hear it knows where it's coming from yet. Like that's my favorite thing about it is nobody knows where it's coming from. I love just making them wonder. But I've always been like a very well grounded person. But yeah, I had somebody help me kind of get into gyms, and everyone wants to go, that's demonic, but it's not. Like in the Bible, God talked about the 12 foundation gemstones that He wanted built under His certain um, churches and stuff. And a lot of it, why do you feel better when you hike to locations? Because you get into nature and you touch nature and you touch rocks and sandstone and quartz and a whole bunch of other stuff you don't know. The days that I feel really bad and I feel kind of frustrated if I'm weaving dream catchers and I'm putting moss agate on dream catchers, just by default, by touching the moss agate, I calm down. So I've noticed a lot of stuff like that about me in the last year, and you just gotta kind of learn about how you respond to things and what works for you. And if I'm having a super bad day and it's warm enough for me to go barefoot, I'm going out barefoot because that is something that helps me the most to go barefoot. So I just if my neighbors ever figure out who's making the noise, I'll let you know. But now they're all like, because it has to go quite a way for anyone to hear it, except for the one neighbor that's really close. I don't have everybody else is like got trees and stuff between us, and they're all like, "Did y'all hear that noise this evening?" And I'm like, I'm not going to tell them. I'm going to wait for them to figure it out. See how long it takes. But my dog is like, "Oh, we're doing this again." So every time I pick up my bow, my dog's like, "Okay," and he'll walk with me to the back porch like, it's time to do this again. And he doesn't enjoy it near as much as I do. But then the confusion afterwards, we're like in the little group that we have on Facebook, everybody's like, what was that noise? Oh, I'm a stinker. I really enjoy that though. Yeah, anything that you can do with your hands. Um, and I'm kind of one of those like when I make a bath, I have baking soda, I have Epsom salt, I have bentonite clay. I mean, I've got quite a bit going on in my tub when I'm in a bath to pull toxins, to pull and to really help me. And I can tell the difference when I just kind of soak in a tub and take a bubble bath, which I don't really enjoy. But if I take one of my soaker mineral baths, I always leave feeling better and my swelling goes down and I seem to do better for a day or two. And so my husband is irritated because I've got all these little jars labeled in the bathroom, and he's like, it looks like a pantry, not a bathroom, but it's necessary for my health. So my tub is full of God knows what when I take a bath. I'm sure that people think I've turned into this little witchy woman as I've gotten old, but I'm not. I just use the woods around me, and a lot of people don't know how to do that. So I just use the woods around me. What was it David said today? I don't know. He found something he thought I wanted. What was it? Doggone it. Anyway, it was something I was going to turn to a tincture. I can't remember what it was. He talked about it before he went to work. It had to come to me. But also, my tree resin on some of my pine trees is coming out really good. And I've got a friend with severe eczema, and I'm going to make the tree resin eczema relief for them. And so I've not made this. I used to make it and put it on my horse's feet. Slightly different recipe, but I put it on my horse's feet to help with cracks during winter. So I'm going to make it for human skin this time and see if it helps, because I think it will. Or the Align diet, yeah, and keto works really well for me, but I got really close to scurvy one time with keto, and I was like, better not do that again. Yep. 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 Every bath I take, I try to soak in that stuff because I know how good it is for me. And I'm here to tell you, baking soda is a great cleanser. Now, I'm not a doctor, and you just take it as a grain of salt and go on. But baking soda is a great cleanser, and I've been using for a lot of the swelling that I've had with my flares. I've been using castor oil packs, and those help a lot too. Castor oil packs help quite a bit. Yeah, I've looked into their diet heavily and try to kind of to scale myself down to that one time when I was having a lot of issues with my neuromuscular disorder, and it amplified a lot of my issues. My body does not process red meat the greatest in the world, so I had quite a bit of issues about it. Now we did end up augmenting my diet, and I did lose like 40 pounds, and we're trying now to augment my diet again, so maybe I'll lose some more. But yeah, they have a very special diet, and I'm glad it works for them. It we almost got there, but it was too hard on my body. It was too hard on my body. My doctor was willing to, kind of go down the path with me, but it was just too hard. Yeah, casserole packs have. That was something Grandma used for Grandpa when he came in, after working in the tobacco field or working on the tractor, and he would be sore, or he would have like a knot come up on his elbows or knees or something. She'd put a castor pack on him. So, and I'm telling you, I cheat. I get maxi pads, pour castor oil into them, and then I just tape them to my legs. I mean, you know, some things have helped, in as things have progressed. So, and that casserole stays in that pad, and just enough of it gets on your skin to really do what it needs to do. So, that's what I do. And then I just use Keflex, like vet wrap, to keep it on wherever I need to put it. And I normally just let it stay on overnight, or if I wake up uncomfortable, then I'll take it off. But, a few hours. So I do a lot of that too. But baking soda and vinegar are two of the best things for my body, to help me keep me balanced. And I can almost tell which one I need at certain times in life. And so, yeah, so after I finish these antibiotics, I will then be taking about 3 or 4 days to drink some baking soda water. And then after I get everything kind of out neutralized, then I'll start to add back my apple cider vinegar. So I have to be very careful with my guts. So careful. Yeah, I tried castor oil to induce labor. It didn't work. It's nasty too, but it didn't work. It didn't work. It probably does for some. I mean, if you're super close, but it didn't work for me. But I do use it for a lot of my swelling and my flares. So, like when you saw my hand in my oven mitt, because it will get everywhere if like it's somewhere like where you have to put it on fingers and stuff, it will get everywhere. Now, if I wrap it on a leg or something and put that vet wrap around it, it doesn't really leak anywhere. But hands and stuff, there's not really a good way to keep it where it needs to be. So I just put my hand in my oven mitt and just literally poured stuff all over it, and put a loose ponytail holder to keep my oven mitt on, and that's how I kept my hand for like 3 days. And my nurse was like, "Whatever works," and it worked. So that's what we did. And so yeah, I have a really weird neuromuscular disorder, and it really has taken over my world. And I'm getting. I've had better times, and I'll plateau for a little while and do really well. But winter is my hardest time, so that's why I struggle right now so much. Winter is really hard on me. It really drops my immune system, and then I catch everything else going around, which then puts me into flares, which then lowers my immune system even more. And I have to take really good care of myself during winter, and not to go out and about and be, in and out. I stay homebound mostly. Which Jonah has a show in like mid to late February. His band has their first show, and I'm going to go try to watch it if I'm healthy enough. So that's my goal, is by like I think it's the 17th of February, by then, to feel well enough to feel that I can go to that show. And it's here in my town, so go to that show and spend a few minutes and enjoy that memory with him, because he's my bonus baby, and have that experience with him. And it's really important that I see that. I want to see him perform his first time with a really big audience, and because I know he's going to really do a great job. So I've got to get to feeling better and make that happen. He stopped by to see me today. He missed me. I almost talked him into doing my dishes. So close. So close. It was so close. Put it around belly button to kill worms. Oh gosh, I'd have to ask my mom. It wouldn't be burdock, would it? I don't know. Let me ask my mom on that one. Oh gosh, Lane was 2 weeks old. I was about to put a mailbox on my head. I didn't think he was coming into the world. He was just gonna stay. He just set up shop. That's all it did to me too. Put me in the bathroom. Yeah, and then I had a really good nap because I was so tired from being in the bathroom. So yeah, and I was 30. I think it was 39 weeks pregnant with Lane when I tried that castor oil, and it was just woo. It was not necessary, not a necessary experience at all. They ended up having to induce me with Lane because literally he was just, now that he's grown, he never gets anywhere on time. Like we should have just seen that as his personality. But yeah, we had to be induced with him. Now Haley, when she started coming, she was like, "I'm here," and the doctor was trying to watch a Lakers game, and he was like, "Slow her down," and I was like, "Dude, she's just doing her own thing. You just need to get over here and catch her." But the doctor wanted to be able to finish the Lakers game before he caught her, and I was like, "Yeah, I can't do anything to stop this because I just had a kid 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day ago, and it's a freaking super highway, so you just better catch this kid." And so the doctor barely he got his gown and glove stuff to catch her, and it was the funniest thing I ever seen because he was like tending to her and still watching the TV, and I was like, "Hello." Real low key delivery after my first like really high emotional delivery. It was really low key. Oh, it was Miss Patty live? Okay, yeah, go watch Miss Patty. I'm done. Miss Patty actually thanked me for the videos I've been doing. She left a comment under one of them, and I'm trying to work really carefully and be respectful and help as much as I can. So I'm not trying to overstep any bounds. So yeah, everybody go give her a lot of love. She's in a position where I know she's, she just needs a lot of support and love. And I will try to catch y'all tomorrow if I feel like it. If I don't get iced in, I will try to catch us tomorrow. And if not, go watch Trapper Dave Waters, and see his new videos. And he's got a new one that should come out tomorrow as well. And also go check out the Etsy store at Hillbilly Heart Decor. Give David some business. We're trying to move out the old stuff because the stuff that he's trapping now is starting to get flesh tanned, and we'll be turning it over. Okay, y'all, go tell Miss Patty hello and give her some love, and I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Bye, guys. Love yins.